Look at that. 2 Tom news videos in one day. This is either the worst of times or the absolute worst of times. Here's your wrestling news. We have an update on a Raw Stars in-ring return. Future plans for Randy Orton have possibly been revealed. And an AEW Personality tells us the story behind their in-ring name. We'll get to that in a bit. Charlotte Flair has been a talking point this week following an attack by Nia Jax on Raw. It looked as if Charlotte was being taken out of action, and there were reports circulating that Charlotte was going to be off TV until possibly SummerSlam. Charlotte has given us an update via Sports Hiatus, and the hiatus she's taking from the sport isn't as long as people thought it was. Charlotte said, "I'll only be gone for a few weeks." She then goes on to say, "They can still play things on the WWE network, but utilising my social media will be most important while I'm gone. Because with WWE, there are many things that I'm part of. I'm part of an organisation called Girl Up, where I'm able to stream live from my social media. No one is going to miss me. They are still going to feel like I'm there." Which is basically what I'm saying. I'm gone, but I'm not really gone. So there was this feeling that Charlotte was going to be missing from WWE TV for quite a while, and it really opened up some interesting conversations about who could possibly step into that role at the very top. But it feels as if that's probably not going to be the case. Chances are Charlotte Flair is going to be back in time to maybe face Nia Jax in some capacity at Extreme Rules. That certainly feels like the feud that they were building for now. But we will see what they've got planned for Charlotte. It certainly involves some kind of blow-off with Nia Jax, possibly some sort of Extreme Rules match at Extreme Rules, maybe a little bit later on. Maybe they just have a scrap at Extreme Rules. I don't know. But what we do know is Charlotte's absence may have been greatly exaggerated. One person who was hoping that Charlotte might make a little bit of room at the top was Sonya Deville. Sonya has really been a force unto herself on SmackDown over the last couple of weeks. She's been doing some really great stuff in ring in her rivalry with Mandy Rose, and some really good stuff on the mic as well. She had a chat with a British newspaper just the other day talking about Charlotte Flair, and they asked if she feels that Charlotte Flair is entitled. A loaded question that Sonya answered beautifully. She said, "It's a twofold question. Does she get opportunities because of who she is? Maybe. But does she deliver every single time? For sure. I'm the same way, where anything you throw at me, I'm going to deliver. You could throw anything at me. If I'm given the same opportunities as Charlotte Flair, I will be as big, if not bigger, than Charlotte." Big claims by Sonya Deville. And you know what? Why not? As I say, like SmackDown lately, she's really jumped out. And I don't see why she couldn't be somebody who's up there in the contendership for a major title. Who knows? Looking ahead to Extreme Rules, it looks as if Randy Orton and The Big Show are going to roll back the years, back to 2013 when they had a very average match then. So yay to 2020. Looking ahead, however, some interesting potential future prospects for Randy Orton. According to Wrestle Talk, whose sources say that Randy Orton has thrown around the idea of possibly mixing it up with some of the NXT roster. Now, Randy Orton is one of those guys that could very well head over to NXT and certainly put some fresh eyes on the product. And the thing is, he already has an inbuilt feud ready to go as a result of some jovial back and forths between himself and Tommaso Ciampa. This followed In Your House, the NXT TakeOver special from a few weeks back, in which Randy Orton was making some thigh-slapping jabs at the NXT roster. Tommaso Ciampa fired back, alleging that Randy Orton's matches put his daughter to sleep, and back and round they went. I thought, right, and this is me putting my old fantasy booking head on, I like the idea of having Tommaso, of not this being Randy Orton going to NXT, but having this as a reason to call Tommaso Ciampa up to Monday Night Raw. Do the whole thing where Tommaso Ciampa goes, "Hey, you call yourself the Legend Killer, I'm a bit of a legend where I come from, so try and kill me." That'd be fun. I'd be down for that being a thing. That'd be amazing. But yeah, it could very well... Watch this space on this one. I think Randy Orton certainly needs to have something new to do if either his feud with Edge is going to take a little bit of time to get back up and running, or maybe if they're looking for something for Randy Orton to do post-rivalry with Edge, something that could possibly help build somebody else up, maybe doing stuff with the NXT guys would be beneficial to him. And it'd be beneficial to the NXT guys. Talking of NXT, they got themselves a big old win going into 2 weeks worth of TV specials on Wednesday night. So the ratings came out, and normally we don't talk about the ratings because normally it's the same story. AEW wins. This was a rare occasion, so NXT pulled its biggest rating success in almost half a year on Wednesday, 786,000 viewers. Dynamite, the lowest numbers the show has ever done, 633,000. Now that's still a great number for wrestling on a Wednesday night, but it's the lowest they've ever done, and it means that there was a 153,000 difference between AEW and NXT. I believe this is the biggest win in the ratings that NXT has had to date, and it certainly puts them in good stead going into the next 2 weeks. AEW kick off Fyter Fest next week. It's a 2-week special, and NXT conveniently got the Great American Bash, a 2-week special starting next week. Keeping up with the Joneses, I see there, NXT. DDT are picking themselves up a legend from All Japan. It was reported by Tokyo Sports that Jun Akiyama is joining DDT from All Japan on what they're calling a rental. So it's almost like a free transfer from football. So Jun Akiyama is going to see out the rest of 2020 as part of the roster for DDT Pro. This is a really big thing for DDT because Akiyama has had one heck of a career in All Japan Pro Wrestling that's seen him work his way through the heavyweight division. He has been the man in charge of the place only up until last July when he stepped down, and now he is taking everything he's learned and his experience to DDT for the rest of the year. Akiyama has been wrestling for DDT a little bit for the last couple of months or so as part of some of the shows in lockdown, and there's obviously some good stuff coming from it. To have someone like that, like a legend like that, within the DDT locker room, is going to be nothing but a benefit to DDT. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. On SmackDown tonight, it is a tribute to The Undertaker. The Blue Brand is saying thank you, Taker, by replaying a classic WrestleMania match. Can I call it a classic yet? I want to call it a classic. I know it only happened in April, but the Boneyard match is getting a run out on SmackDown tonight. First time on network television, you can watch the entire AJ Styles versus The Undertaker Boneyard match. And if you've avoided it for this long, you can't avoid it any longer. It'll be on SmackDown tonight. They put out a statement to say, with the WWE Universe still buzzing over the final chapter of WWE Network's groundbreaking documentary, Undertaker: The Last Ride, SmackDown will feature a special tribute to The Undertaker this Friday night. As part of a special recognition, the astonishing Boneyard match between the Dead Man and AJ Styles will air on television for the first time. As superstars, legends, celebrities and fans have expressed their support for the sports entertainment icon, the Blue Brand now gets to share the same message. Thank you, Taker. And finally, Aubrey Edwards was on Talk Is Jericho, and she's given us a little insight into where her name came from. Am I the only one that just assumed her name in real life was Aubrey Edwards? Apparently I am. Her real name is Brittany. What? She told us where the name came from. She said, one of the first things I noticed on the indies is anytime I work with the promotion, they'll throw me in a women's match because there's people who don't think women should ref men's matches, or they like the image of only women in the ring. I thought, I'm probably going to cross paths with Britt Baker, so I should probably come up with a different name just to limit confusion. I showed up to AEW and no one knows who I am, so I introduced myself as Aubrey. My dad's name was Edward Aubert, so my wrestling name is Aubrey Edwards. He passed away when I was 12. He never saw any of this, but he'd get a huge kick out of it. I wanted something that was important to me. I love that. That's a wonderful note to end it on. Aubrey Edwards, honouring her dad with her name. If you're looking for some wrestling positivity this week, I know there's a hashtag doing the rounds, which is wrestling positivity. I think that at the end of the week that we have had, I feel like we could probably do with a bit of wrestling positivity. So however you choose to find it, make sure that you do. I mean, I can only recommend listening to Desert Island Graps on the Cultaholic podcast feed. A brand new episode dropped on Wednesday featuring Prince Amin. If you are familiar with the Cultaholic lads from their days at WCPW, you'll be familiar with Prince Amin as well. The Indian Dream joined me for a brand new episode of Desert Island Graps, endorsed by Drew McIntyre. That happened on Twitter the other night. That was a good time had by all. So that will do it for your wrestling news for today. Thank you for continuing to support us here at Cultaholic. It has been a rough week on top of a rough few months. All the advice I can offer at this time is keep on keeping on. That's pretty much all we can do right now. And look for the simple joys in things. If you're feeling like the world's weighing heavy on you, try and look for joy in the simple things. Whether it's a really nice cup of tea in the morning, whether it's a really lovely walk on a beautiful day. Maybe it's knowing full well that whilst I look like I've worn a full suit and sat in my spare room, I've actually got no pants on. Take from that what you will. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.